Okay, here's part two of basically Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic, less known classics. So, one thing I forgot to mention for Avengers Assemble is the whole thing with the orb. Now, Mephisto was defeated by being sealed into an amulet. Yes, an amulet that for some reason has the orb there. My only guess is because Jason Aaron loves the orb, and maybe he regrets killing him off. So he figured, though, hey, why not basically feature him in his last Avengers comic he would write? Avengers Assemble Omega. I believe that the multiverse massively were disbanded with the story, and of course the story itself has a really good ending to it, and it's interesting to know the fact you have Jason Aaron, a guy who had a really good run on Thor, which some people thought was a bit too long. There was some portion of his run a lot of people basically were not fans of. Like, not necessarily the beginning per se. The problem people had with the story was the Jane Foster stuff. I personally love the Jane Foster stuff. And I'm shocked to hear some people didn't like Jane Foster stuff because it's still good. It's a good book. But this book in particular, here's something strange though. Aside from me, I can't think of anybody who talked about this book online. Of all people I subscribed to for comic reviews, nobody talked about this book the entire time it was being published. It's like this didn't care. Like, take for example when Jonathan Hickman wrote the book. These people also dropped the book because they felt like every single issue the Avengers had to go to space. Like, they apparently didn't realize though that stopped after the first 24 issues. Yeah. Now, one thing also about this run that was unique, and the reason why it was six issues in just like 4 years, the reason why that was because the series came out twice a month. Yes, this whole volume did that. You're probably thinking, like, when was the last time this happened? When Hickman wrote the book. Did this happen when Mark Waid wrote the book? No, that did not happen. And, well, of course, we had this come out basically like we had a team reassemble after they disbanded after the events of No Surrender. And apparently, No Road Home was kind of part of the numbering. And here's something interesting though: issue 10 of this very run was counted as issue number 700. The whole thing with Nighthawk mostly put he was looking for his old teammates. Yeah, basically the Squadron Supreme America were a team created by in-universe by Mephisto. There was also there was one event they did tie into. I kind of forgot to talk about this one. Judgment Day. It would tie into this one for a couple issues, and also the fact that I don't think it was anything else. I think it was interesting though. They were headquartered out of basically a dead Celestial, which they called Avengers Mountain, which is I thought was a really original idea. And I'm like, what's now? You're probably thinking the Avengers did themselves? No, this was given to them by the Celestials because they helped with the final host stuff. Yes. The one thing and no one talks about the fact Jason Aaron did, people forget the fact at the start of his run, he had the Eternals commit mass suicide. Like, okay, they bring up the whole thing with She-Hulk, but they forget about the fact he had the whole thing with the Eternals. And when Karen Gillan revived the Eternals basically a couple years ago, really cool idea, and I love that book. Surprisingly, for some reason, I do not know why this is, the Judgment Day trades, I have been trying to get for quite a while now. And for some reason, I've tried to have my little comics over from Diamond. They keep canceling it on me. For no reason. They canceled those two books. There's an extra book I've been trying to get. But I'm not sure what the heck is Diamond's publication's problem. But next up we have is Joe Fixit, a book set during Peter David's run on Incredible Hulk, which they have issue of Incredible Hulk run issue 347. This is a 5-issue miniseries. Now, this series starts off with the Kingpin himself going to Las Vegas and meeting with Joe Fixit's boss. And we see in the opening issue the Hulk, aka Joe Fixit, fighting Wilson Fisk. I'm like, that's interesting. If I have Spider-Man here because Peter David was Spider-Man, so why the heck not? We also got some appearances book by the Rhino, Electro, who hired goons for the Kingpin. This Also, there's a funny moment in this book. I had to bring this up here, where Spider-Man's dropping, and of course he's caught by the Kingpin. And of course he gets out. The Kingpin's armor is like, let's never mention this. Let's forget this ever happened. And Kingpin is like, agreed, because even he thought this was ridiculous. Where the Kingpin just catches Spider-Man. Because I'm sure both of them were quite embarrassed by it, and they probably do not want to bring it up. I thought that was quite funny. Peter David his humor is so on point. I love his humor. This book is so hilarious. This is at one point where Joe Fixit is brainwashed. Yes, brainwashed. Thanks to powers that the Kingpin has, despite the fact he never had in the main book for some reason. We even have the start of Joe Fixit's time in, well, when he first showed up in 347, they have that in here. As basically like when Joe Fixit first showed up. Good enough armor to put that in here. It's surprisingly only 5 issues, and I believe this is the most recent book that Peter David has done for Marvel Comics. Let me take a look at that there. Because I believe this is his most recent book he worked on. Marvel Comics. Because I found out recently the guy just got out of the hospital. Yeah, the guy has been suffering through some... How should I put this? Some health issues, per se. Yes. Oh, and the last book he did for Spider-Man was actually Samuel Spider-Man Crossroads, came out 2 years ago. Let's see. Yeah. This actually, yes, this is definitely his most recent book he did. Because last year he did one miniseries, Mysterio World War M. He did that one. Yeah, when he did the Last Call one-shot for Immortal Hulk, that was the first thing he did for Hulk since 2015. Yeah, and that was interesting fact he did that. She-Hulk, it's like, not very much at all. Not really. Spider-Man, he had a lot of time on Spider-Man. Now, you probably think, okay, Peter David was ready for this book. Who does the artwork? Well, the artwork of this book is done by... and it's for the whole miniseries, Yadri Kenar. Yep. Now, I love the fact that basically Return Joe Fixit. I hope we get follow-up to get this book was awesome. I love this book. I'm going to give this book a 10 out of 10. Yes, it's just that damn good. Do I think we might get more of this? I hope so, because, well... that'll depend upon Peter David himself when he, well, gets fully recovered. I have heard he does want to get back to writing comics. Yes, he does. But the only problem with him recently is back he's all the health issues he's going through right now. Yes. Yeah, so twice basically in the past few years, Peter David's wife, Kathleen, has done a GoFundMe page. I have basically, let's just say, put it out there for people to basically go GoFundMe. I'm not going to donate per se, but I will support him on Patreon, which I'm sure he probably appreciates that. And I am very happy the man is in the hospital, because I told Chris Ventura about this. He was very happy to hear that. And let's just hope Basic Comics, and I think the first book he should do a book for is stick with this miniseries, because this book was so good. Yes. And yes, I still stand by my rating. 10 out of 10. That damn good. Okay, so that's the particular review. I don't know if I get time to do a video tonight. It depends, but there's maybe on that part. If not, save it for tomorrow, okay? Next video. Bye.